Yeah, we got people here already having conversations in the boy howdy. So we got Rad was first. Wow, beat Bjorn. Mudhorn, Tone was fourth because he can't count. Let's see, let's see. All right. Thank you, thank you. As you know, I worked on this yesterday. I actually did this in about an hour's time, maybe a little bit longer. Um, still needs more weathering on the inside, but what's up, Jabalon? I'm happy with it. It's getting real, like the. There we go. The effects are getting washed out by this new light that I got. Mm. Yes, it is. Um, but I got myself a new overhead desk lamp to work so that number one, you guys can see better. Number two, so I can see better as I'm working on things. I want to do some trash bashing and probably some like kit bashing of little different boxes and greeblies. Nebula, what's happening? Welcome, welcome. Um, I've got a bunch of stuff that I like pre-selected, like trash that I pre-selected. I'll tell you guys what it is, obviously. But as you can see, look, let's do it this way. As you guys can see, this table's entirely cleaned out, and I've actually selected a small table for the corner that I'm building a matched piece for, so that I can have a big flat surface. Then I can continue to table this way through this corner, and so I have a lot of my stuff from that table over here. Earlier today, Storm was in here. He was being a very good boy. He's not supposed to be in here. He's a big 13-pound meatball. But he got in here and he was going to jump up on something. So I snatched him, but he knocked over a lot of stuff. So I've got to reset a lot of the figures over that way. Oh, if you excuse me. Oh, it's, man, I tell you what, as soon as the sun sets, it just, it turns into dark. 80 grit for the nerf, by the way. And then you're going to go over it with a finer sandpaper once you get it leveled. But yeah, 80 grit will take that right down quick. Signed a guy who used to turn Nerf guns into more realistic looking pew pews for uh, cosplay and fun and just making neat props. Yeah. So bring it down to the table. So like this is nice. This isn't much brighter, which is great. So it's like I'm already working on that, making improvements on that. But so yeah, some of the stuff that I have, I kind of picked up for scabbing together off of things. Picked out, I should say. What's up, Triple D? One of the channel members. How you doing, friend? Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Only a couple more of these left in the month. This is something I've been working on. I can show you that in a minute. But I've been saving some neat wires for texture, but also color. So I've got like this regular twist tie, right? Except I don't know how well you can see it on. It's got a texture, almost like it's got a grippy texture, but the grip is on the exterior of the uh it's an exterior of the wire instead of the flat part. So I just thought that was a cool texture and a way to add some detail to something. Some twisted wire, of course. Then I've got red elastic cord, which you guys know me. I like to use the elastic hair ties and things like that for cables. This is nice because it's got that texture and it's red and elastic, and it will help add some variance. So I grabbed that. I was like, hell yeah, we'll save that. And we've got this piece which I just repaired, which is going to be for obviously a satellite. And I've been building an antenna, or some type of broadcast or reception. And I've been building an antenna to kind of put together with this thing to scab it onto the side of the building, because looking around at different skyscrapers, because that's what this you guys remember I had the tower in the background. Well, I added some height to it to make it different, make it cooler, but also just make it seem more 118 to my mind's eye. And it's it's over here drying right now, but all it is foam scraps. This was off of a old, I want to say 112 series of foam board that I'd cut up for a piece that was down in my basement. I was like, oh snap, that's only half-inch um, instead of 1 inch or 2 inch foam. So I grabbed that, and it was just a simple trace and cut out with an X-Acto blade. I didn't need to use anything fancy like a hot wire cutter. Um, it was just measure and cut carefully, take your time. And then I also decided to take advantage of the fact that there was so much real estate left over here on a chunk of it, that I gave it a set of stairs coming off the front just to add some more character to it. So I think that's pretty cool. And then I did the very same for the top, except I didn't trim it out yet. We're going to figure out how I want to trim that before we reattach the towers, or the shipping containers onto here and stop. The building doesn't need to be wheelchair accessible, because the landlord, he's probably not a good person. So he doesn't care. As long as he gets his money and nobody dies in front of his building, he's good. I mean, look at this. He just he lets random bus advertisements hang out on there. His signpost. People are going to be putting stickers and billboard. Look at, he lets graffiti artists. You know, he just lets them go. Graffiti on the edge. He just doesn't care as long as he gets his money. That's why things are kind of rusty, and things are kind of lived in, world lived. So that's why um doesn't have that. But also, it's the future. Technology, hover lifts, repulsor lifts, jetpacks. Um, this is one of my building is one of those that the people care more. You'll see this in New York City. You'll see this at any real or inner city that you go to, especially where there's like a slummy place, or like Kowloon walled city, which is always fascinating. In fact, give me 1 second after I get through this here, but like, the people take more care and care more about the building itself than the owners do. Now, speaking of Kowloon, I got this is not to be braggadocious at all. I did get myself a surprise Christmas bonus from work, so I treated myself to a expensive book. It's called City of Darkness, and the photography in this book is it's absolutely stunning. Just tremendous. Greg Girard, who I did a deep dive on him over the past couple of days, a Canadian photographer. He's the one who went to live in Japan, or excuse me, in Hong Kong, and took all these photos. And he's also very notorious for his Tokyo pictures and Japanese pictures. But they, what's up, Sky? But the pictures that are in here are straight up slice of life. This is the Kowloon book, yeah. And while some sections of it were slummy and awful, like, you look at the sections that were owned by people, they built their own church, or Buddhist temple. There is a Christian church in there, which is wild to see, because Christianity is not really a big thing, but like the people took better care of their own place with what they had than the landlords and the people that collected the money for owning the building. They had their own like police force, but it's there's so much. And I say police force, it was like security guards and things like that, and then they had their own people that would kind of wander around and keep an eye on things. But like you can see, they just needed a water takeoff, so they ran a hose with five other split off hoses and ran them up to connect to other things. So like this, it's just the electric. They just kind of scabbed on things and like attached warts to the building. So I want to do a lot of that. Um, but yeah, this book is just fascinating. And of course, it's in Chinese, and I cannot read Chinese. Um, I tried, but no, it's just the photos are just they're so telling, and like they turned rooms into classrooms in there in the building. So different ideas for building up around gimmick. But this thing is really cool. Um, I d- I know what you mean. I know it's kind of like a hypothetical question, but like also Kowloon was a goddamn nightmare. That place was terrifying and terrible. Um, but yeah, so that's what I've got. Got a bunch of depressed, and then of course we've got our usual building materials and things like that. I just thought today we could kit bash some stuff together, throw some more things on, this antenna array that I'm working on, gussy it up a little bit, and we'll see what we going on. Plastic train pieces, which I'm not set on using the pieces as they are. I think I'm gonna portion these up into like sections. Um, this was something I thought of like, oh, maybe I'll use it as like a rain cover on something or something like that. So we'll see. But then I'm gonna sneeze. By the way, I can feel it. Are we getting camera shy? Can we sneeze? Mississippi. Um, super glue caps, but they could be little ashtrays next to a building. They could be little tiny garbage cans. They could be flower holders. They could be, you know, things on top of an antenna. But I saved those because they're cool rectangle-ish and they have neat interior texture as well as exterior texture. So we got some things off of a hand wipe thing. I thought we could stick this onto the top of one of the buildings as like a hatch, a rooftop hatch that maybe the tenant put in so they could come and go instead of walk down through all the things. Maybe it was a former smuggler tunnel, a piece of wooden dowel, some styrene, I want to say 1/64th scale stairs. I think they're 1/64, but they work really well for 118. So plastic clips. So that's that. And I know I've said the word so about 11 times during this. And as such, I'm gonna do my best not to say it. But what do we got? The photos are not in Chinese. That's I do have a link for that book, and I will send it to you. Um, I have an affiliate link. Well, maybe I'll throw that in my story when this is over. But it was that was a nice little treat for myself to pick that up, and I honestly I don't Adam really is my personal devil on my shoulder. I don't I do read a lot more than I have been in a while. I think pandemic, like during the height of lockdown, was the last time when I was really like putting away books because I was like, oh, cool, 2 weeks, I'll be able to get some reading done. That 2 weeks turned into a year, but I did a lot of reading then. But like now, I've really made a point to spend more time looking at books, and I buy a lot of books for art, for art purposes, the making of, the production of, behind the scenes, and I will just like this photo was this photo of Rucker Hauer was actually a behind the scenes photograph that the director he saw him standing there and he thought he looked so cool. He had I think it was the DP took this picture, and then the shirt company, obviously, they like the graffiti and stuff that was up the buildings. They made it bright and neon. And it was black and white photo, but I just pour over the behind the scenes pictures and look, and I'm like, wow, this is, this is freaking cool. And they explain this here, and wow, that's really neat about that. And I didn't know that. And look at that in the background. Is that a thing? And just learning about set design and things like that has really given me a lot of joy, and reading big, like looking at big picture books and then behind the scenes stuff. Like I'm in my I just recently purchased a Princess Diana of Wales commemorative English tea container to put on my countertop because I am entering my grandma phase, my grandpa phase, whatever. Maybe it's my like not whiskey grandpa phase. Maybe it's like my four loco grandpa phase. But I enjoy large picture books, and I like opening them up and sitting and looking at the pictures and staring at them and mm, you know, gramming. That's a good one. Oh God. Oh, gramming over there. Oh boy, that's a good one. All right. Very good. So I'll start one that we can do. I think all of us have Jenga blocks, the mini Jenga blocks. I know a lot of us went out to the dollar store and like scooped up cases of them. So I think we'll do one that's two Jenga blocks big. So that's a little over an inch. Let's say that's an inch and a quarter by 2 inches tall, just about 2 inches tall. So we'll use some cardboard. Grammon. Ah, that's a good one. That's Starboy. Kudos. Absolute kudos to that one. But we'll do this. So let's get going here. We're gonna use super glue because I am lazy. And actually, it's just a great building tool. I don't know why I give myself a hard time. And this was my solution for I needed the cap from the Elmers for something else. So I pulled the glue down into the chamber, and then this pressure fits on there just enough to keep the glue fresh. I guess we can use that too. But oh, that's a perfect. Boy, some days you just luck out. We'll get a ruler. I finally found sanding sticks at You Are Personally Attacked, but I also picked up a few boxes of them, so I am also personally attacking myself. Yes, Adam, I'm waiting on the Dodi Fayed commemorative cookie tin. But truth be told, I feel like Diana was, she was way fucking cooler than any of those royals ever were, and they actually had her amongst the Queen Elizabeth is dead tea set, which wild that they had that at the store. It was literally just like celebrating the life of da 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 da, and I'm like, man, she gone. She gone, but she was also like not great of a human being. Her soul is trapped in a Beanie Baby, and I said I'll pick this up, and I will gladly put my tea on the counter in a Diana of Wales tin because she's excuse me again, far cooler than any of those losers, and it's just a nice, neat little like very '90s thing to have a tea container with Diana's head on there. I was like, yeah, I'm getting this. There's no stopping me. And you don't even need an X-Acto knife or a safety blade. You could just use your scissors. I don't know why I went through all that trouble there. But we'll use this board, and we're just going to use these as like better than a Funko Pop. like her head on them. It's a picture of her on the side. I could get it. I could stand up and get it, but then one of the cats will try and sneak in. And it's a nice portrait of her. Honestly, it's a nice, very good likeness of her on the side of it. It was one of those things that tickled me to no end when I saw it. All right, so we'll get our 1, 2, 3 blocks as well. No one wants their soul trapped in a Funko. Actually, if I picked anything, it may be a Funko Pop because then it's like with all the microplastics that'll eventually be shed from my corporeal form, I could basically they'd be like Horcruxes, and nobody'd be able to put them together to stop me because my microplastics would be every goddamn where. Do you think they ruin bobbleheads? Because they still do ceramic like the resin bobbleheads at baseball games and hockey games and things like that. I don't. They haven't had like a Funko Pop night or a Pop Vinyl Doll night around here, so I am curious. Like, were you a big bobblehead guy? Oh, thanks, Tone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna hit the. No, you can't leave me. I'm gonna hit that like button. Boom. I'm gonna heart it too, so it stays. Thank you. That'll be a nice Christmas bonus from the old boss man Tone. Thanks, Tone. I do appreciate it. And I had a couple of hockey bobbleheads, but I don't. I gave them away. I kept the hockey stick from one of them because I was like, oh, eventually I'll build a Casey Jones figure to my liking because I used to cosplay Casey Jones years ago. Local team, volunteer 40 years. Limited edition bobblehead was a Al Roker on a hockey body. That's hilarious. Was this person who they were honoring, was he a man of color, or did they just get a discount and they were like, well, Tom, you're black now. I don't know what to tell you. He was okay. Well, that's good. I could you imagine like, nah, they were on sale, so we went with that because I could see some companies. Uh, Chicken Charles. Wait, was he the? No, he wasn't the bouncer that you were talking about. The one that who like moves like Marcus. A little behind the scenes little behind the scenes conversation. He was Chicken Charles. He was Kicking Charles. Yes, he. Oh my God, it is the same guy. Oh, thank God. All right, yeah. That's hilarious. Um, I don't really need it to have a back, but I feel compelled to put a back on there for whatever reason. And we're doing this like jazz. We're freeform building. We're scratch. This is true scratch bashing here. We're literally making this shit up as we go. So, um, nice of the Poultry Brothers. The Poultry Brothers sounds like they could have been a successful band, but they came out right around the same time as the Doobie Brothers. So, you know, doobies are cooler than chickens, and therefore they've won out in that popularity contest. Now, their manager, he said to them, he was like, "Hey, you boys need to change the name. We got these Doobie Brothers. They're up and comers. They're really gonna have this brothers thing pinned down. Why don't you guys pick another name?" They were like, "Hell no. We've been the Chicken Brothers for the longest time. No one's gonna change that." And well, look what happened. Turkey Terry, Pheasant Phil. So, as I'm sure Red Nose, Fat Red Foo Nose, and other builders. These things are not perfectly the same size, these Jenga blocks, so I'm going to use a piece of this just as a shim, because you can see when I put it on there, it's about the right thickness that it stops. It gets caught on the edge of that. That's me. You can see my finger. So we're going to put that down. It's just like a little shim to help things bond. And you could say to yourself, you could say it out loud to me in the chat. You could super chat me and go, "Hey dummy," or somebody who's watching the replay, you can go, "Hey dummy, why didn't you just sand the other one down?" You know what? No. How about that? Yeah, but people with nut allergies don't like the Almond Brothers. I know it's not almond before anybody comes along and screams. Although I have considered it in times as like my one of my most popular reels was me just kind of being goofy about figures that we needed. Like I called Ezra like Space Moses, and I was just kind of prattling off characters I'd like to see, and that one got a lot of view traffic. And I hate mounds don't. I hate saying things like content creator and traffic and all that other shit, but that's the nature of the beast that we live in and the internet. But yeah, that was like one of my number one videos was me just making goofy names for things, and I feel like if I just started sneaking in like incorrect but funny mispronunciations of things in my videos, it would get engagement and traction, and that might become my thing. And you can hear Storm trying to get in the door over there. I hear you, Storm. Oh, that's the boy. Yeah, he's trying. You can't get in here though, no, Storm. There's no ladies for you to flirt with. Yeah. He's got his Christmas collar on though. He does look very handsome, guys. We're getting ready for the Famine Studios Christmas card. And speaking of Famine Studios Christmas cards, we got the new. And Tone, I'm gonna have to get some of these off to you for that super chat, my man. We got the new Rusty Jackalope bomb-proof vinyl stickers. They are matte vinyl. They stand up to the sun. They're UV protected. They are actually like thick vinyl stickers. These are really good. Um, super, super happy with these. So Rusty Jackalope Provision Company stickers are going to be out. But I wanted to use the boys and Daisy for a little advert. And then we've also got the original Fan Studios logo. But wanted the cats to dress up for a little advertisement so I could shuck my wares and then give them treats for their labor. I use Sticky Brand. I don't support Sticker Mule, and also I have found now that all these other sticker companies that have come out and kind of been like, "Hey, we're not the only game in town." Sticky Brand is really fucking good, really fast, really good quality. That's fantastic quality for those stickers, and the price was right, and the turnaround was excellent. So, highly recommend Sticky Brand. So we've got our first, we'll call it a wall wart or scab or whatever, and I'm thinking to myself like, what is this thing, right? Is this going to be some type of meter box? Is this going to be some type of cable TV thing? Hookup? What is it? Utility hookup of some sort? And I think we're just going to greebly it along and find out. I feel like that's the most reasonable way to do that. Got a little sliver of cardstock here that's hanging off, so just sand it until it's flush with the surface. I'll do that all the way around because why not? Let's see. I don't want to use the stairs for that. These pieces. So I've got this, and I keep going back to this here because this looks like it would just like fit perfectly. I could trim this so that that sits there. I could put something else across the bottom. So I think I'm going to go ahead and trim that. Yeah. So I really, that's another thing Santa's got to bring me is I need to order myself some more 1, 2, 3 blocks. Hey, this is me being kind. Anybody's got kids in the room or their nieces and nephews are going to watch the replay of this, don't let them. So I saw a Onion article, and it was a local man wakes up to find no Christmas presents under his tree, shocked to find out that Santa Claus is actually supposed to be him. Kids left devastated. My grandmother, till the day she died, till last Christmas, Santa Claus always left a present, and it was always from Santa. I didn't get that. I don't know where it came from. She kept up the love for the Santa Claus fucking myth until the day she passed. Now, that said, Santa Claus always brought me toys I wasn't supposed to have. I got my first lightsaber, my first toy lightsaber from Santa Claus because Gramps said, "You're gonna have that thing. It's not gonna be in the house. You're gonna wind up breaking a window. You're gonna hit somebody." Got that from Santa Claus. So I have like I'm amused by that, and then I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be the first year that Santa did." Like it, I'm an adult. I'm almost 40 years old, and my first thought was like, "Wow, this is gonna be the first Christmas. Santa's not gonna bring me a present." And I was like, "Oh." And I had seen that meme and it just cracked me up, and I just brought that today. So yeah, Santa's got to get old famine some more 1, 2, 3 blocks because I'm using these a lot to make my things just sit where I want them to. So when I make my marks on things, I know their level because I suffer from looks good enough from here and then I cut it and it's slanted, and that's just because of my own. I don't know. I look at things and it's kind of crooked. You're a little crooked, famine. You're very crooked. This is why we don't invite you to Thanksgiving with the family. Don't even get us started on Passover. I don't know why, but my family and my imaginary land is a typical Long Island Jewish family. You took home everybody's containers of matzo ball soup before anybody got any. I don't know why you do this every year. Is that how you celebrate the Festival of Lights? Is that how you get ready for that? It's not in this house. I don't know where you learned it. It's freezing here, brother. Filthy little piggy. Jesus Christ. Thanks, Tone. Yeah, the 1, 2, 3 blocks are fantastic. I again can't recommend those enough. Oh, I'm gonna be having Christmas here and having Christmas with the cats, and you know my family's gonna come over and everything like that. My cousins will they'll stop by. I have my girlfriend and everybody. So, but it's cold here. It's below. I think we're getting closer to zero as time goes here. But it was fucking brutal today, man. I was chilly all day here in the office. All right, so we got this, and this is off of a railroad kit, by the way, HO scale railroad kit. I don't I don't know if I want them without the holes because I do. Is the hottest Santa Claus, not Tim Allen. Um, I will drop a dowel in them from time to time, and there's a whole bunch of hooers in this house. I do use them primarily for the edges, but sometimes having those holes is handy. And I'll show you another thing that I do with them. I don't know. I'd have to check those out. 1, 2, 3 blocks without holes. That's weird though. That's like Captain Crunch cereal, but it's all the yellow stuff instead of Oops All Berries. That's upsetting. Like if you gave that to me as a kid, I'd think you were joking me. But I will do something like this where if I'm painting something or I need to set it hands free and work on it, instead of a helping hands thing, I make these tools out of paintbrush handles and alligator clips. And I might set it like that and work on it, and I find it's easy for that. Or, do something like this where I need a counterweight. So if I've got something heavy up here, I just let it hang like that. Make jigs with bolts. Yep, that is true. That's yeah, but it's not Captain Crunch. It might be Captain Crunch, but it's not Captain Crunch. Magnetic clips that work great on the blocks. I'll have to ask you to send me a picture or link on those because yeah, but doesn't Captain Crunch come with the crunch berries in it? It's the yellow cereal with crunch berries in it. That's Captain Crunch cereal. I know that the yellow Admiral fucking uh whatever those stupid things are called exist, and that's the cereal. But also, oh god, we're getting into the deep dark territories. Um, you guys are scaring me with the cereal talk. You guys, I'm scared. So we've got that going on here, and then we have this little. There's three types. What who? This guy's supposed to be a captain. Why doesn't he stick to captaining instead of worrying about cereal? Serial killers. It's funny. I've got this little plastic cutoff. It's like a 90-degree cutoff. Yeah, Adam knows a lot about cereal, like a concerning amount about cereal. I like grandpa cereal. You like the extra fiber plain fucking wheat biscuit cereal? What was the Life? My mother used to always buy because we would get food stamps, and you could only get like certain cereals. So rather than spend money on cereal, because there were times when we had a little bit of cash, but instead of doing that, she would just get kicks all the time, or not kick, yeah, kicks, the round ones that people make into Christmas things. But yeah, she used to get fucking kick life cereal all the time, uh, life cereal and kicks, and man, I just now as an adult, I'm like, no, no, thank you. No, no, thank you for that cereal. That's just one of those things from my childhood where I'm just like, ugh, yuck. Um, there's certain there's certain foods that I just don't. It's not even like a trauma thing. Uh it's just one of those things where it's like, God damn, this is something it's just not for me. And Kix was one of them. And that used to be like if I had to eat something for breakfast, if I was allowed to have breakfast, because we were one of those houses. Um, it would be like, oh, have a bowl of Kicks or make yourself some Kick. Get a handful of Kicks on your way out. Put it in a bag. Take it with you out the door. Go out back and play. Take a bag of Kicks with you so you don't get hungry and come in the house, like that type of thing. Varenbon Redberry. Let me just text that. No, it's trauma. Well, it's not. So I won't eat. Um, at the risk of oversharing. Um, my mother married a man who was not a great person, and he treated me terribly as a child. And one of those treatments was if I was in trouble or grounded, which I was always in trouble and grounded, um, I would have to eat a half a peanut butter sandwich on white bread and a glass of milk because they were nutritionally uh, allowable to give to a child as a meal and not get in trouble for it. And so I can't eat like a peanut butter sandwich. I just can't sit and eat like a peanut butter sandwich. Absolutely not. So yeah, that's like my one trauma food where I'm like, no, absolutely the fuck not. I like the Cheerios that try and be Apple Jacks, but they're not actually Apple Jacks Cheerios, or they're not actually Apple Jacks. You know what I'm talking about, right? I don't think I know what I'm talking about. All nut butter is gross. Hey, buddy, I got some nut butter for you right here. No, I don't mind. I love peanut butter, dude. Give me a Reese's fucking cup or a nice peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like a real PB and J. Hell yeah. But just don't ever come at me with a straight fucking peanut butter sandwich. This isn't. We're not in a gulag. Like there are actually prisons that will serve only peanut butter sandwiches to their convicts. Like that's how much of a punishment meal that is. Like don't. Ugh, ugh, yuck. Oh, look at that! I found a use for this piece. Cashew butter from the Amish. I don't think I've had cashew butter, but I do. I think cashew is up there in my favorite nuts. Waka waka. Um, I love cashews and almonds. I do love almonds a lot. I think it's because I listen to a lot of Almond Brothers. Did y'all hear that loud noise? That was a cat knocking something over there. Peanut butter and honey is the top tier. Yep. Um, Robert, let's go get some pistachios. Oh, Adam, do you want some of your chestnuts for the holiday? I'm gonna send you some chestnuts, buddy. We're gonna get you some chestnuts in the mail, sweetheart. Don't worry about. I know you're away at school, but we're gonna take it. Mama would never forget your chestnuts. Orange navel worms? What the fuck is an orange navel worm? Why do you invent things? That sounds terrible. I love pistachios. Now I don't want to eat it. I don't like food with worms in it. Peanut butter and like in Thai food, because I've had savory peanut with onion and spices, like in a peanut sauce. White onion, sweet. You're actually like this is actually upsetting my like I got goosebumps because I'm so uncomfortable with the thought of eating onions and peanut butter together. Doesn't have anything to do with the fact that it's like 59 fucking degrees in this room. But really, sir? Ugh. I'm gonna leave that to you, brother. That's all you, my man. You enjoy that. He said it like he was gonna cat. Like I'm telling you guys, just try it. No, no, I love myself too much. That sounds horrible. So we'll get a little more super glue on there. See, that's what I'm saying, Starboy. Like it does not sound correct. Therefore, oh, okay. Triple D says it's good. Maggots that are always shelled pistachios. Matrix got lazy and delicious. Is that kind of like the folks who there in the late '90s for a hot minute? It was putting hot sauce on their vanilla ice cream and going about how great Tabasco sauce is on vanilla ice cream. Because I know there was one where it was like, hey, this should not work together. Oh, is the at the bar when I worked the restaurant one day. This guy, the marina owner, who I also used to work for on the off season, this guy comes to me and he's like, hey, uh, you ever have a buffalo wing? And I'm like, Tony, I've worked in this restaurant for about 3 4 years now. I'm fat, like clearly. I've eaten chicken. He's like, no, 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 a buffalo wing. And I'm like, Tony, I've eaten hot wings before. He's like, no. He was my boss's uncle, so he could kind of tell everybody what to do. So he flags down the bartender. He goes, "Get me a Budweiser, and bring over a thing of Tabasco." I'm like, and he brings over. She pours me a pint of Bud, brings it over, and he goes, "Now take that Tabasco sauce and put just 2 or 3 drops in there, And he goes, just give it a second. He's like, let your beer rest. He's like, go ahead and drink that. And I'm like, Tony, this doesn't sound like any. I was like, is this a prank? He's like, no, I'm telling you, this shit tasted like a fucking buffalo wing, like you would get at a bar. And it's one of those things my brain just couldn't, like and also it was cold. And I think that had a lot to do with it. Not that I would want a warm, carbonated buffalo wing. It was just one of those sensory, like, fuckery. Yeah, it was weird. You know how the people that like they'll make a cocktail out of X, Y, and Z, and you're like, oh, this shouldn't taste like this should taste like pure alcohol, and it actually just tastes like candy. One of those situations where I think that was just the combination of something into, and it had to be Tabasco sauce. It couldn't be like Red's buffalo sauce or Red's hot sauce or anything like that or Chinese hot sauce. It had to be Tabasco. No, I see. I thought the same thing about drinking a beer and also having wings at the same time, but it was just like the experience was too strange for me to even take time and effort to try that. I think I would have upset my fragile little world. All right. So we've got that on there. And then I've just sanded about a 45 at opposite chamfer. So instead of them, like most 45s, they make a nice point like this. In this case, I've got them sanded so they make this way. Oh yeah, we don't want to do that to Adam. Can I get some ground beef to suck on though? So let's use a toothpick because that's another cheap, like, most homes have these, or you can get them for free at like restaurants and stuff. Like, man, I remember. Oh, all right, pre-COVID, and places are starting to do this again, and it skeeves me out, and it always skeeved me out as a kid. But like, you'd go to a restaurant or a nice place to eat, or even like a cheap diner. They'd have a bowl of mints by the register with a spoon, and you could scoop them up and take some with you, or you could reach in. They had toothpick dispensers, raw toothpicks out in the world, and they just, like, you could reach in and take a toothpick out of the top, or you could take from like two or three that just fell down in the tray, and people would just stick it in their mouth hole. Same with the stir sticks that I liberate from like coffee houses. It's just out in the air. It's raw in the air, and you're. Mm. But now, COVID happened, and a lot of things are individually packaged, which is wasteful on top of it. But I digress. I don't know. I don't know where that rant was going. It was just one of them things. But it's like people blowing on a birthday cake at a party. It's like, goddamn, like, you know, especially at a kid's birthday. We just let people raw dog the air around it, and no thanks. A loose handful of mint flavor. I don't know. That's terrible. I don't know why, but I read that as you were going to send me a handful of mint teeth. Or loose mint teeth, and I was like, what? We did build up strong immune systems, but at the same time, ugh. Cisco, the reason why everything tastes the same all around the world always, at least in the United States and Canada. Certain products are not, you know, it'll never matter to me who makes the brand or whatever, as long as the food that's made with it is good. But I remember when Cisco tried like coming up with their own, like, oh, it's as good as Hellman's or Duke's. Like, oh, this is as good. This is the same thing. It is not. It didn't even come from the same factory, because I was like, okay, maybe they got a distro rights and they got it, coming from the same factory. Their mayonnaise was not the same. You know what I do miss from Cisco though is the fried apple fritters that they sell. Um, Obviously it's Cisco, so it comes in a clear plastic bag and a white paper box. But you would throw 10 of them in the deep fryer on rare occasions and heat those up, and then serve those with ice cream. Those things were fucking phenomenal. End of the night, right before I shut the fryers off after I do a change out, throw a handful of those in, grab a scoop of ice cream, drive 5 minutes home, sit down and eat that on my front porch while I sat there trying to like unwind from the nightmare of work. Oh, that was good stuff. Oh, it was good stuff. So now we've got this kind of box going here. Give it a rail. So let's start like putting things in there, recess them in there, and give it like some textures. Ranch flavored cheese curd. Do you mean to tell me that the curd itself is ranch flavored, or are these like coated in a ranch powder post cooking? Because depending on which way this goes, I might choose violence. Oh, there's a little plastic bit. What's Quinny doing? He's out there fighting a paper bag. Dark chocolate dipped cheese curds. That's weird. Ranch flavored cheese curd does sound like an insult. I had a little piece of plastic. Various flavors for cheese curds. I love cheese curds. Like love me some cheese curds. But I gotta tell you, I don't know if I could screw around with some ranch flavored ones. That's for damn. That's Why did that sound like glass bottles? What are these cats into? Oh, they're in the closet. They opened the pantry. Excuse me, I have to go be a cat dad real quick here and yell at my children. There you go. Stare at a stormtrooper. I'll be right back. How did you get that cabinet open, boys? What are you doing? Oh, you knocked over a jar of pumps or something, right? You boy, Bard, gosh, you're naughty. You want to come show everybody your Christmas collar? You want to show everybody how handsome you are? Quinny, Quinny, relax, Quinny. You want to come say hi to everybody? Okay, Storm's coming in. Quinny's all corpuscular and wants to play, but he would love to show his friends how handsome he is in his Christmas collar. Look at that. Look at that holiday flannel look. So handsome. Say hi, everybody. Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm so handsome. Stormy Storm, who just walked through this. Did you guys see him? He's under the table. If he comes up, here, buddy. Hello, handsome man. The big meatball. Oh, oh, say hello, everybody. He also has his Christmas collar on, but he's so fluffy that it hides it. Say hi, Storm. Big meatball. 13 pounds. Look at this unit. Look at this thing. Yeah. Go play with your brother. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're purring like a storm. Love you guys. Be good boys. Stay out of the pantry. I don't know how they undid that lock. Thanks for watching, the Stormtrooper. Appreciate it. Yeah, cheese curds can be good. Um, my problem is I would eat them all the time, but I know that it's not good to eat them all the time. So, I had some more random greaves, random MDF offcuts and cardstock punch outs from different projects. I don't think a triangle or a square is going to be the way to go. Keep a couple of those out for later. Let's see what else we got. I do have a drawer over here where I've been like, grab that piece and toss that in there because I need to sort it out. It's not necessarily a catch all, but it's also not like a use for everything kind of situation. So, got a couple of game pieces from the dollar store. I don't know. I don't necessarily think those would fit on into what I'm doing here, but you never know. Maybe it's a could make it a fire alarm on the side of the building. That'd be different. Or like an anti drone device. Heirloom oil, artisanal heirloom oil. I like that. Like scabbing on the side of a building, and it's an anti-drone device to keep people from flying their drones into looking in your house or whatever, or people's droids. That's what this is going to be. This is going to be an anti-drone signal jamming thing. There we go. Look at that. We came up with that idea together, team. Top marks, gold stars for everybody. They did not get into the treats. It seems like they get into the pantry, and there's a couple of bags, like those thick plastic grocery bags, that I have like glass things in, like jars of sauce and stuff, so that they're not heavy on the shelves. I know those shelves think that cabinet's overbuilt, but I just keep in the bags. And they like to romp and crinkle the bags. That's what that was. Or one of them will hide in the bag and the other one will jump out at them. Children's. Do we get the smaller one or the bigger one? We like. What do we think, guys? Do we like the bigger game piece in the center of that, or do we like the smaller game piece in the middle of that? Drop your answers in the chat below. These ones actually had super glue on them previously because they were part of a different kit bash that I started that just didn't sit right with me. Tone says the smaller one. Bjorn says the big one. Let me just get this quickly. Get that scuffed up a little bit. Make it easier to get the paint to stick on it later. Bigly. Sky says Bigly. No, Adam says Bigly. So conditioned that when it said Skywalker, you know. All right, looks like we're going with the big one. That's two bigs and one small. Sure you are. What's up, J Diorams? No, we'll use super glue. Super glue is fine. I was gonna fire up the hot glue machine, but super glue is fine for this. Set this kind of centered as best I can. It won't be centered. Actually, it might be. All right. No, I lost the lid. Also, for you toy aficionados, people that love toys just beyond our, collections of Star Wars and GI Joes and Masters of the Universe and stuff, New York State Museum has a gigantic, uh, huge event for the Barbie collection. It's currently housed at the New York State Museum in Albany, New York. Check it out. I have some friends that work at the museum, and I know that they do a phenomenal job over there and try and make sure that things are fun and modern and cool. Kicks are for kids, silly rabbit. So you're saying that Glory knows about Ben? Walk me from the top of this. A little sanding stick ASMR here as I flatten the side of this dowel. These Buffy references are lost on a lot of our audience here. Okay. We'll pretend I didn't just try and you're all very stoned. Weird metal bits. No. No, sir. No little weird metal bits. All right, so I still think we should add some stuff in that little recess part here. How about this little piece here? Yeah, that'll work. Another little piece of railroad stuff. Yep. That's where we learned how to Google things and fight demons and some tremendous episodes of that show, too. Adam, was it you that told me? And then I saw the interview where James Marsters talked about how Joss Whedon was going to have him appear in the background of a bar in the future as Spike to show that like vampires, also exist in that universe and they just lived on forever. That Spike was still alive somehow in the future. What do I want to put on here as an oddball detail? Ba-da-ba. That would have been sweet. I don't know that I would have. I'm sure, like I would have been like, ah, there he is, and that would have been like one of those little nuggets of information that everybody's always like, oh, that's when he, that's when he broke his toe. He kicked the helmet. Yeah, no, Joss is a piece of shit. Um, his body of work and more so the casts that worked on his stuff made those things legendary. Oh, well, hmm, here's that corrugated. A couple of scraps of bullshit corrugated paper. Oh, right there in front of me. More corrugated paper. I think we can put. Yeah, we'll put that right in there. He is a Hollywood slime ball. He took advantage of females on his set and abused his power as a director to make people feel uncomfortable on his shows, especially women. Um, Essentially implied that Charisma Carpenter should consider her career and get an abortion instead of having her child while she was on TV. There's a lot of scuzzy shit. The way he spoke to um, actors on Justice League when he took over, he just it's he's a bad man. And I know I have some friends that know him or knew him personally in their lives. These were not Hollywood people; these were people that grew up with somebody, um, and he happened to be in that friend circle or group circle as well. And he's just not a great dude. He's one of those guys that, like, at a college party would be like, "Oh, I'm total feminist," blah 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 blah, to try and sleep with chicks. That's the long and short of it. He was a creep and fucking bad, and thought because he had all these great ideas and you know he was a genius. I'm the mastermind of this thing, and if I can make your career or break your career, that type of guy. So fuck him. Moldy. This guy's moldy. He's like bread. He has a moldy slice of bread. Let's drill a couple of holes for wires. We'll use a pin vise for that. Pin vise. Like when the cast, Bjorn, let me put it to you this way: the cast and crew would go out of their way specifically to protect underage female actresses, in this case, Michelle Trachtenberg, while she was on the set and make sure that she was never alone with Joss. So that gives you the type of idea. Yeah, dude, he liked to play the outsider. And I'm like, I remember when Serenity came out in theaters, and I'm seeing all these people that that were like associated with him and things like that. And now looking back, it's like, goddamn, like he was never like this rebel filmmaker outsider. He just made his stuff. Hollywood essentially wanted him to make punch ups and doctor scripts and things like that, and he wanted to make his stuff. So he sold himself off as like this rebel guy that was outside of the Hollywood sphere. And it's like, no, you used to write for Roseanne. Like you have been doing this for a very long time. You ain't you ain't special. And that'll be cool. So be able to put like a cable into the bottom of that. I'm over here showing nobody over there into the bottom of that little piece there, and then it won't be this long one, but boom, you got a hanging wire. I was actually looking at a thing today where people were making fun of Jason Bateman because he doesn't know a lot of stuff. Not that he said anything like horrific, but just that he's not very smart and he's aware of that. And he's like, I acted my whole life. I didn't, do these other things. Um, and people give him a hard time about it. But then somebody in the comment section said, my grandmother or somebody had told me once that the reason that celebrities used to not be like this is because we didn't have access to them. Like now everybody's got you know, access to the media and they can say what they want and they can post their things on Twitter and things like that. And it's a double-edged sword. Like it's like, yeah, they can uh they can do and say whatever they want and share, but then also it's like we have to learn these things about how oh, don't get Anthony started on oh yeah, but yep. And there's another reason why certain actors loved working for him. Example, Adam Baldwin. So let's see here. Just thinking I want to add a little more texture. I know I'm starting to like put in the extra steps, but it's like this is where the magic happens, right? This is where the buildup happens. Hmm. We love asymmetry. I think it's something like that there. I'll use this piece of plastic that I already have and just glue it on. What am I making? I'm making some type of like an anti. Basically, we decided that it's a box that goes on the side of like a dwelling in Gimmick, and it keeps It basically prevents people from flying their drones or probe droids too close to your domicile to like spy into your house. Does it work? We don't know. Does the person who made it and put it there think it works? Hell yeah, they do. There we go. No, Ron Perlman is not the type of man. Kind of like a forest. Oh, yeah, I guess you could say that, Beaver. I actually am surprised that but it's illegal in the United States right now to interfere with any type of drone flying, even if it's illegally peeping in your windows and buzzing around your house. Which I feel certain ways about that, but I was gonna say I'm not surprised, or I am surprised that there's no company out there creating like drone deflectors or selling restrictors to stop people's drones. But I guess that's where the money is now. So in actual drone tech. So why would you create anti-drone tech? Because that could be used against those people that are going to buy your big contracts and fly those drones around with your name on the side. Yeah, that'll work. And that's the end of that juice bottle. Yeah, you can't do that. You cannot yeah, right? That explains why the neighbor's kids put that drone with the heat vision through the bedroom window and watch my wife change because forgot to pay the goddamn bill. Nah, it's on me. That's my fault that the neighbor got to see your goods. Or the burglar was able to case your house because he was able to fly over top of your home and observe you for 3 weeks solid. Or insurance companies, right. Yeah, you can't, unfortunately, you can't pick them out of the sky here in New York State. There's a lot that has to go into you being able to regulate, as the kids say. A piece of cardboard here. A little bit of extra strength Elmer's glue. Hey, Red. Next time you make that texture, don't forget the goddamn glue stick. Don't you even think of forgetting it. Yeah, glue stick gel. Get out. Get out of my house. Bison hose. Longhorn Musk, isn't that the guy who owns Twitter? What kind of glue stick? Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength. You can screenshot it and then reverse the image so you know what it looks like. Ignore this cap. This is not the right cap. That's as long as I'm holding it up there. Susanna, don't you cry for me. See if I can get little random pieces that I've set aside. Yeah, we'll use one of these. I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe, maybe not. Thought I was gonna sneeze, but I am not gonna sneeze. Got a little key, like a keycap cover from a phone system, and I'm gonna do a little sanding on here to make it a little bit more narrow where I want it. I'm also getting close to sneezing again. It is cold in here. I mentioned that. It's finally above freezing. Could you send some of that this way? Although we're supposed to get snow tomorrow. Everywhere around me, which is fine. Everywhere around me, though, is supposed to get dumped on, and we're supposed to get a coating to 2 inches because of the Hudson River, how that river valley effect works. But I'm curious to see how this goes tomorrow because it's got to warm up, or else the snow ain't gonna be shit. Mm. Starting to look like a junction box, especially. I covered that hole up that I just screwed there, but I kind of like the idea. I like that idea, so I'm gonna leave it covered. I got plans. Relax. Good. This is actually I'm actually building a 1/18th scale of your immediate surroundings. So surprise, we weren't going to tell you. Wait, is your chat visible? I thought I paid them to turn that off. Or did Tone do it? I think Tone did it. All right, let's get some primer on this bitch. But Uncle Famine, what do you mean primer? What could you possibly use? Black paint, motherfuckers. It should be a quick Gish Easy Prime. I'm not going to be too fussy about texturing and stippling like I usually do with like Mod Podge beforehand. This quite literally is just going to be a coating to seal everything off. No Storm. He tries so hard to get my attention, so he like just scratches at the door, and he'll get like a running going. Bless you. Oh, maybe that was Quinny. Nope, that's Storm. No, that's Quinn. No, Quinny Quinn. You may not come in here. Especially you. You have no self control. Daisy, she's real good about things. You, on the other hand, you got no self control and need to be held like a toddler in a toy store. Otherwise, you just jump around and destroy shit because you're like, oh, everything's to play with. That's one of the things I love about you, buddy. However, I don't need you to be a Toys R Us kid in this room full of toys. He's like, I just want to get in there and smack everything around for an hour. See how many things I can make noise by breaking them. That booze will get you, buddy. Whoop. My sense of self control usually manifests itself in self protection, but fucking put, I'll eat things. That's like mine. Plus all the drugs. I was thinking of, speaking of self control and toys, so I was thinking of like how cool it used to be to go into a KB toy store, especially if it's one you frequented and they start to know you and they'd like let you know when things came in when you walk in as a younger person, not as like an adult collector, because we don't have KB toy stores anymore. There are no more chain toy stores around here. Um, I do go to Toying Around in Johnstown. I really enjoy that place. Love them. Love the team. Love the family that owns the place. But it's a bit of a trip for me. Uh, but I used to when they did the 4 packs of the episode 2 figures, or yeah, they were 4 packs, and they were like slid into the individual figures were slid into separate sections of the 4 packs, and it got to be where I'd go in there, and if there was nobody in the store, the one manager would be like, he'd walk over and he'd just cut all the tape on the edges of all the 4 packs because they, sometimes they'd sit, and he'd go, yeah, you can just swap those out and make yourself a 4 pack if you're getting a couple. And so I'd go and like, okay, this one's all clones and this one's all Jedi and things like that. And I miss that. Like, probably why KB Toys went out of business, but famine single handedly drove millennials single handedly drove toy companies out of business. But that was one of those cool things that I do sometimes miss about that. And I also miss when you could go to Walmart and get Star Wars figures for 48. Yeah, now if you want to feel like you're at a hoarder house, you just have to go to a Dollar General and walk down an aisle. Famine, you said you weren't going to worry about texturing. Shut up. past observant voice of mine. You mind your goddamn business. Get out the hair dryer. Speed this up. Maybe warm the room up a little bit too. So I'll mute you before I blast this. Me. Yeah, bought stocks. God damn. Good for your aunt. Meow. Trash. Yeah, I ponder upon folks that were like had the forethought or the good sense to like buy into Apple, before they became huge and then retired because they could. Let's try brush this with buttermilk because we can, and then we'll touch it up with some metal and whatnot, graffiti. We'll go with buttermilk. Apple or IBM, Microsoft, all those companies that hit big in the boom in the bubble, just the people that were fortunate enough to either have the funds to put into those stocks or also get like the tip of, hey, we know this is going to be big because X, Y, and Z. They played their cards right. It's like the same with the original crypto people. Some wealth would randomly show up unannounced for whoever say they're welcome at my spots. Did they ever leave money there? Like come by and fucking go get a shovel and start looking around the yard, see what they left. Um, because you had to have the money to get into the stock market in the first place, even when stocks were cheap. And I did stock market club in elementary school and middle school. Not to brag, not to brag or anything. A little rudimentary understanding: bull market, bear market. You want to buy low, sell high, those types of things. Wall Street and other phrases. Um, but like even when you're buying like $3 stocks of like Coca-Cola, you really need to be buying thousands of them to get the types of money like retirement money. But I guess if you spread that out over a bunch of like penny stocks and things like that, eventually you reach mass accrual of wealth when one of them does well, and then you can convert your money from one stock into another. Um, I just don't. I have my money in my quote retirement plan that I truly do not believe I will ever be able to retire. And if I can be the old artist guy making weird shit and selling that to buy groceries or whatever, or keep my 15 animals that I've rescued from the outdoors fed when I'm old and decrepit because this system of capitalism doesn't allow for retirement, then that's fine. But I have money in a 401k that's traded. People trade that stuff, and you got your Roth IRAs and all that other bullshit that makes my brain hurt to think about. But yeah, could not imagine having that type of money to be able to play those stock markets and then win enough to retire. Well, what kind of gifts did they bring? Because I mean I don't know, and that's one thing I do like about today, like our current I guess social timeline as we are, is that people don't like do the unexpected, unannounced show up anymore. At least in my life, said fuck that family, left their fortune to libraries and schools and shit. Hey, I would leave some to family if I love them, but also like at least it's libraries and schools and shit, and not like we gave it to our son Douglas and he used it to fuel his crack cocaine habits. Or he invested in this company called Ocean Gate. I wonder how that worked out. People died, Karen. That's how that worked out. People died. They're all dead. I like this buttermilk color because it's like, of course, it's an off white, but it's got that kind of 70s, 80s bakelite enamel creaminess to it that looks like it's old and retro. That's why I'm kind of just going over certain spots again and again to build it up to be like, oh, this was an added on piece or a repaired piece that, or maybe it's a piece that came off of another one that just had, better coating on it, as opposed to some of the more worn down areas that are less painted. Father gadgets and tools distract him for a week. What are books and dinosaur themed items? Hey, people coming over and bringing me dinosaur stuff. All right. Now I do have some family that I love when they come over and they hang out until like, because they come to visit from out of state and they'll come over and hang out like until 11, 12 at night, and it's like, I've literally had to say, get the fuck out of my house, please. Like, please, you have to leave. I need to fall back into my normal routine, and you people are making it hard. Get. Gracious host famine. Right? It's starting to look like something. Joe Pesci and the other sister. Forgotten. Well, they should have been into cooler shit like dinosaurs. Maybe they would have gotten something. Nice, nice. Silver, silver, silver. I don't want that to be silver. I want that to be red, like dark red. Let's start with cardinal. Cardinal red. Shoot. Yeah, we'll do it red. Gave a little that red paint there, and that's folk art. And this was Americana. In case someone was like, that goddamn famine guy. He does these paintings. She does. Um, she looks like she's gonna threaten a young Macaulay Culkin. I saw Macaulay Culkin recently did a bit for that untalented hack Matt Rife, where it was like Home Alone, but it was Charlie Sheen who was the burglar, and Macaulay straight up just shoots him. House guest crashing on your couch, having someone else a piece. Yeah, yeah, I'm that. I'm always, always, always glad to help out because I've been helped out by so many other people in my lifetime. Um, but there's just certain points where it's like I need I need my space back. I need somebody to fuck right off. Like, please leave. And then I have other friends who are like just they fit my vibe so much that I probably wouldn't even notice if they were there, like in a negative impact. So I'm just like, all right, chill out, hang out, do whatever you need to do. Just let that cure. Like people at the same time you don't like people. No, that's reasonable. Yeah, whenever I visit Adam, he makes me stand outside on the porch. And he says anything I have to say to him has to be handwritten on a piece of paper and slid under the door. But this motherfucker caulked the seam on the door. See a teeny tiny mistake I made. I'd like to correct it. Well, that's white. That's no, that's Mod Podge to go even further. But I guess I'll use that high gloss Mod Podge for something right this second. There's still paint in that brush. Red pigment. We don't want red pigment in our podge. Squeeze it out. coat a couple of these pieces in this high gloss Mod Podge so that they look like they're fresher. Like I said, they're fresher pieces, maybe pieces off of another unit that was in better shape that they've since cobbled together. And also it'll pick up differently on camera. And we like that. That's one thing that I like to do when I'm not filming a live, or I'm just painting up something for my own entertainment, is I will often just set it down and take a few pictures of it from different angles to see how it looks through the lens of a camera. Because looking through the lens of a camera will look different than obviously, than to the naked eye. Sand your knuckles, hell yeah. Climb on the counters. I'm gonna invite Aunt over, and when him and Meg get here, I'll be like, "Oh, you guys want something to drink? Yeah, cups are right there in the top cabinet. I'll watch you climb like a spider monkey." Hey, what type of guy was Famine? He's the type of guy that would put things up high for short people. Thank you, thank you. Oh no, I'm just gonna make you climb stuff, Aunt. Spider kick. Hey, have a good stream or a good sleep, Mudhorn. Discovery of muscle never known to exist. All right. All right. Because it's just so cold that the paint is taking forever to dry, and it's acrylic paint too. I'm gonna call it now because we've been at this for 100 minutes, 110 minutes, um, and I have work in the morning. Gonna start calling you Chan Tony, like Dom did. He said Chan Tony. Sorry. Oh boy. But like I said, it has been a good stream. Thank you, Tone, for the super chat. Thank you guys for all tuning in. For the Patreon subscribers who come through, patreon.com/famous studios. Chan Tony. Good old Chan Tony. That guy is great. Ko-Fi is available if you want to buy me a coffee. I understand it's around the holidays. Everybody's busy. You do not have to. I will have, like I said, I will have Famine Studios stickers again for sale. And now we have the Rusty Jackalope Provisions Bomb-Proof Vinyl stickers. Excited to get those out in the wild. Hit me up for those on Instagram. Call it. But I am going to head out. You guys be well. Take care. And as always, too sweet me. And I'll see you guys in the next one.